We present Wilfrid Hyde White and Richard Murdoch in The Men from the Ministry, a weekly tribute to those who work in our government departments. These are dedicated men, for the jobs they do are varied and pressing. And the offices they work in are varied and pressing too. From Big Ben to Nelson's Column stretches the most famous street in London, Whitehall. Here is the nerve centre of the country, where an army of public servants works unceasingly. Here are the men whose decisions affect the lives of millions. Here is the brain of Britain.
They hadn't got any currant buns, so I had to bring Eccles cakes. Put them in the filing cabinet till 11, sis, would you, Miss Adams?
They won't have long to wait, will they?
Oh, am I late again?
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I had an accident. I caught my umbrella in my bicycle chain and stopped all the traffic on Lambeth Bridge.
Oh, why don't you try getting up earlier? I bet you don't have any breakfast as it is.
Oh, I have a cup of tea and a good cough. But you're right, though. I do need a woman to look after me. Someone like you, Miss Adams.
Now, we've had all that out before.
Honestly, Miss Adams, April, marry me, Miss Adams, and if we get it done quick, we'll save a year's income tax.
Mr. Lamb, please.
Please, honestly, April, Oh, Wilfrid, why don't you knock before you come in?
I'm sorry, Mr. Lamb. I didn't realise you'd be at it so early.
That'll do, Mildred. And I was not at it, as you put it. Unfortunately. Anyway, you should be getting on with your work. Where's the post?
There isn't any.
No post? Then you better write some quick, or they'll make us redundant.
Well, I mean, there is some post, but you can't have it because I haven't dated it yet.
Well, then stop painting your nails and date it.
I can't date the post because the date stamp's gone. It's vanished.
But if we can't have the post till you find the date stamp, the whole department's at a standstill. Mr. Hamilton Jones will be here any minute, and what am I going to tell him?
You'll have to tell him you've lost the date stamp.
But I haven't.
Look, you're in charge next to number one. It's my job to stamp the post when I've got a stamp to stamp with. It's your job to provide the stamp.
Oh, this is terrible. The Cold War, the economic crisis, and now we've lost the date stamp. HJ's going to be furious.
Watch out, here he is.
Yes, here he is. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Bring the post into my office, would you, too?
Go on, tell him.
There's just one thing, ma'am.
What's that?
Did you have a simply splendid weekend?
Oh, very pleasant, thank you very much. Spot of shooting with Lord Carraway, dinner with the Duke of Dorset. Very quiet, you know. Bring in the post, there's a good fellow.
Yes.
Oh, go on in then.
All right, don't rush me.
Look, it's only a lost date stamp. I say, can't do any worse than have you transferred, now can he?
Have you transferred?
To records at Inverglocky.
Records at But that's in the Outer Hebrides.
It's where all the civil servants go when they drop a clanger. Bernard said so.
And who's Bernard?
My boyfriend in Ag and Fish. He says it's a horrid place, Inverglocky. Just rocks and seagulls and a north wind freezing you to the marrow. Bernard says it's worse than Devil's Island.
Don't be ridiculous. One wouldn't send me to a place like that just because we've lost the date stamp. Will he?
I say, too, do you know the Western Isles of Scotland at all?
No, not yet.
Pity. Stuck on a crossword clue.
Ah.
Never mind. I'll get my secretary to ring up the Scottish office. By the way, here's the date stamp. I borrowed it yesterday.
Oh, the date stamp. You were changing the rubber roller.
What? No, I was changing the date on my library book. Now, come along. Come along into my office, my dear chap, and don't fiddle-faddle.
I never fiddle-faddle.
Well, it's not good enough, you know. 11 o'clock already. We haven't started.
I'm terribly sorry, one. You see, my bicycle chain...
I don't want to hear about your bicycle chain. No time to waste. Here are the golf clubs and here are the balls. We'll have 3 shots each slipping into my wastepaper bin. Threepence a round as usual.
Yeah, but one, I've got heaps to do this morning. There's a memo in triplicate from admin asking why memos are being sent out in triplicate.
Oh, nonsense.
Then there's the meteorological office wanting to borrow our barometer. Not to mention that...
Well, never mind about that. I'll have the first shot, shall I?
Oh, all right.
Oh, good. Oh, dear, see you that isn't till I'm out, will you?
Oh, all right. General Assistance Department.
The Permanent Undersecretary for Mr. Hamilton Jones.
Oh, I'm afraid he's in conference at the moment.
Then tell him to come out.
Yes, Sir Gregory.
Who is it?
Sir Gregory Pitkin.
Oh, what a nuisance. All right, give it to me. Hello, Sir Gregory. Nice to hear from you. How are the petunias coming along?
Well, have you read it?
Have I read it?
Sent it over last night.
What?
Don't tell me you haven't looked at your mail at 11 in the morning.
Oh, no, I wouldn't tell you that, Sir Gregory. Quick, too, the mail.
All right, hang on now.
Yes. I dealt with it so long ago, Sir Gregory, I've forgotten all about it, you see. How the hollyhocks, Sir Gregory. Memo from Sir Gregory.
And the hollyhocks. What do you think of the memo?
Oh, yes. What do I think of the memo? Very neatly done, Sir Gregory. Wish I had your secretary.
Now stop beating about the bush, man.
Did you find it yet? What?
Circular from the Christmas Club.
Yes.
Office out.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. I can't keep this up much longer. This is a very bad line, Sir Gregory.
Then think of a better one.
Oh.
This must be it. Isle of Wight Purchase Project.
You'll have what?
Isle of Wight Purchase Project.
Oh, you too. I see. Thank you very much. Yes, Sir Gregory, yes. It seems the War Office wants us to buy a small piece of land on the Isle of Wight for army training.
I know all that. Don't bring my own flaming memo back to me. I want to know how you're tackling it.
Well, we're tackling it. Yes, quite right. I'm glad you said so. Listen, we're leaving no turn no tackle
Now, look, this is top secret, top priority job.
Oh, top.
War Office need this corner of the Isle of Wight.
Top job.
They can't show their hand for security reasons.
Oh.
That's why you've got to make the purchase.
Where?
Be discreet. Now, avoid compulsory purchase at all costs. We don't want publicity.
Oh, no, of course not, Sir Gregory. Don't worry. I'll handle this myself, and my kindest regards to Lady Pip. Dear me, someone scuttles all. Too, the War Office wants us to buy some bit of land. It's all in that wretched memo. See to it, will you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going off to my club now.
Your club? Which one, the Athenaeum or the Venus Strip?
Too, I may tell you I'm meeting the Under-Secretary for Cultural Affairs.
Oh, then it'll be the Venus Strip. Bring me back the program, won't you? And don't worry about the Isle of Wight business. I'll give it my full personal attention.
Good man.
April, there's a beastly memo here about some land in the Isle of Wight. Do something about it, will you?
Ah, there you are, Mr. Lamb. I've got all the information on this bit of the Isle of Wight the War Office wants.
Thank you, April. Oh, you are a treasure. You really are. I'll take it into HJ if he's back from lunch.
It's 4 o'clock.
Well, you never know. He may be early. There you are, one. Did you have a good lunch?
Oh, pretty good, what? Pretty good, yes. Did I have a good... What were you talking about?
Did you have a good lunch?
Oh, yes, excellent, thank you. And you?
Well, I didn't have much time to eat. I've been ferreting out all this stuff on the Isle of Wight.
Yes.
Now, here's a large-scale map and a list of the details. You can see the area in question in this remote corner of the island here.
Yes, nice spot. We'd ask a good price for it.
But we're not selling it, we're buying it.
Oh, I see, I beg your pardon. Well, we needn't offer much for a dingy place like that, need we? Oh, dear, I missed it that time. Listen.
We'll have another go.
Yeah, we'll have another go. Yes. Just better we get it. Oh, thank you very much. Now then, who does this place belong to?
There are 2 estates in the area that the Army want. One is owned by a retired admiral called Mumpley, and the other by a Miss Amelia Chambers.
Oh.
Apparently, she runs hers as a bird sanctuary. She breeds puffins.
Good gracious me. Tell me, what exactly is a puffin?
It's a gloomy sort of bird with round eyes and a big fat beak.
Oh, bit like old Phipps over the border trade. Old Phipps, that's rather good, I must tell you that one.
I wonder if there'll be any difficulty.
Oh, not a bit. Old Phipps always sees a joke. Remember that Christmas... Remember that Christmas Eve when Arthur Brown filled his umbrella with cheese sandwiches?
Yes, we do see life here in Whitehall, don't we?
Stilton, I think it was.
Yes. What I meant was, will these people sell their land?
Oh, good gracious, yes. Tell you what to do, send them a number 1 stiff letter. When they read that on our headed notepaper, they won't stop to argue.
All right, I'll go and get on with it now.
Good. Now, I wonder if I need a number 9 on this.
Mildred, take a letter, will you? It's for Admiral Mumpley and Miss Chambers. Let's see, Dear Sir and Madam. Of course, I don't mean Sir and Madam on the same letter. I mean one on one and the other on the other, if you see what I mean.
Yes, I think so, Mr. Lamb.
Good. I wish I did. Now, where was I? Will you read that back, Mildred?
Dear Sir and Madam.
Yes, Dear Sir and Madam. You know, that might be a good place to break off for a cup of something. All work and no play makes Jack... Yes, splendid. That's a good job done. Now, can I see those letters, Mildred?
Here you are, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you. Dear Sir on one, good. And on the other, Dear Madman. No. Really, Mildred, you must do something about these mistakes. No, alter it afterwards. I want to check the rest of it. Pursuant to amended planning policy, an area of land which includes your property is urgently required for government redevelopment. And I am asked to negotiate with you for the sale thereof. Your early agreement will be appreciated. The government is convinced that any delay is a menace to the national welfare. And I am the same. Your obedience, etc. Good, I think that covers it. I wonder what the Admiral will say to this.
Hardy, shut the flaming porthole.
Hey, oh, the window. Aye, Admiral.
How the yourself, curse. Oh, that's better. Blasted bureaucrats, bowler-headed buffoons, black-suited bounders. See this, Hardy?
Aye, Admiral.
Totter rum, quick. Close the cannon in the front garden. Run up the flag. And fetch me some paper and a good sharp pen.
Aye, Admiral.
Government redevelopment scheme, indeed. Grab my land, will they? Ha! And what about Miss Chambers, that poor, weak, defenseless woman? I suppose the wicked old devils have one of these, too.
Come along. Eat up, children. Move over, puffins. Let the guillemots have a bite. Eat up, all of you. That's right. We're going to have to fight for our home. The men from the ministry want to take it away from us. Yes, they do. But we won't let them, will we? No, we won't. Hello. There's someone coming up the path. Good gracious.
Morning, Miss Chambers.
Admiral Monthly. Well, this is a surprise.
Well, yes.
Mind you, some people might think it strange that we're neighbours and we haven't spoken for 15 years.
They wouldn't think so, madam, if they'd seen what your puffin did to my blazer.
Or if they knew what your cutter did to my kittiwakes.
Nonsense, madam, This is no time for quarrelling. You and I have got to put our heads together.
I beg your pardon?
I suppose you've had one of these letters from the Ministry of whatever it is, wanting to take this place over as an army training ground?
Oh, yes, I have. You'd better come inside. What impertinence. My family have been breeding puffins here for 800 years. I've written back and told them so.
Good. But we've got to face the fact these people can use compulsory purchase.
Can they? Well, I'd sooner die than have a lot of soldiers disturbing my shearwaters.
Yes, but we've got to handle them carefully. Make sure you're behind me, and I am behind you at the same time.
What do you propose, then?
I thought we'd talk it over today. Then tomorrow I'll go up to London and see these people in their office. Find out how the land lies.
Very well, Admiral. You're right. We must stand together. I'll make a pot of tea, and perhaps you'd care for a soft-boiled gow's egg.
Huh?
You can't think well on an empty tummy.
Morning, one. I've had the replies from the Isle of Wight.
Uh-huh.
I'm afraid they don't look too hopeful.
Oh, dear.
Look, here's the Admiral's letter.
What's this? Infernal impudence? Hung from the yardarm? Barefaced brigands? Bullying? What? It's a word here I don't understand.
I think it's a naval expression.
You see this as a refusal, do you?
Well, reading between the lines, I do get that impression. And Miss Chambers' letter seems much the same. We're little Hitlers in that one.
Oh, dear me. Well, ask April to bring the papers into my office, will you?
The legal papers?
No, the midday papers, of course. There's a horse running at Bogside this afternoon, I've been told about.
What are we going to do about this Isle of Wight business?
What?
We've made no progress, and War Office is sending one of their top men over this morning to see how they're getting on.
One of their top men, are they? That's different. Well, we have to put up some kind of show, won't we? Make him think it's all buttoned up. Tell you what, have you got a big map of the island?
Yes, I had one sent over.
Good. Well, I'll tell you, we'll spread it on the table and stick little flags in it, like they do in those war pictures.
Oh, what a good idea. But have we got any little flags?
Yes, my top drawer's full of them. Kept them all from past Flag Day. Saves buy them again next year. Here we are. This yellow one can mark the Admiral's place. What's it say? Home for retired horses. Yes, that is.
Splendid, and Miss Chambers can have the accident prevention one. I say, I'm rather enjoying this. I'll just slip out and tell Mildred to let the War Office chap in when he comes. April's away on a typing test.
Good idea, good idea. Now, where can I put this one?
Mildred, if you could just tear yourself away from that copy of Biff, the Teenage Disc Roundup, for a moment. I want to tell you something.
Sorry, Mr. Lamb.
Mr. Hamilton Jones and I are expecting a man from the War Office to discuss this Isle of Wight business. Send him straight in when he comes, will you?
Straight in. Right you are, Mr. Lamb. Oh, I wonder if Bernard's in. 324, please. Oh, did you ever? Hello, Bern. Mildred here. No, I've got this place to myself. I just got to watch out for some old square from the War Office and send him into HJ. Here, Bern. I was just looking in Biff, and it says there's a big beat package show at the Buzzardrome tonight. Yes, they've got Charlie Frenzy, Laurie Lustful, and Fred Lizzie. What about it? Oh, good. Where shall we meet then? Oh, inside the Buzzardrome. All right. Here, Bern. Oh, it looks like the man from the War Office. Hold on a minute.
Good morning. Is this the office that's seeking to purchase land on the Isle of Wight?
Yes, that's right. Would you go straight in, please? They are expecting you.
Expecting me? But I don't see how they...
That door over there it is.
Oh, very well. Morning. Now, this Isle of Wight business, I want to find out...
Oh, yes, of course. Come in, my dear fellow. Don't worry, we've got it all buttoned up.
Huh?
Here we are. Sit down, have a chair, won't you? This is Mr. Lamb, my assistant.
How do you do?
How do you do? I want to make it clear I'm extremely concerned about this.
Of course you are. Couldn't be anything else. Might have been a tricky business, mightn't it? However, you'll be glad to hear we'll soon have these Isle of Wight people right where we want them.
Huh? What?
Mind you, we are having a little trouble with some old fool of a retired admiral. What's his name? Mumpley. We call him Mumps because he's an awful pain in the neck.
Just a stupid old windbag. We'll soon get the measure of him.
Oh, you will you?
There's him and a Miss Chambers, but they'll come round all right. We're sending them our number 2 stiff letter.
They won't argue with that. They wouldn't want to get our number 3 stiff letter.
Wonderful what you can do with a bit of bluff and a little brown envelope with a window in it.
What about compulsory purchase?
Oh, don't worry. We know the War Office don't want compulsory purchase because of the publicity.
Yes, but of course these landowners don't know that, so the threat will be enough.
I don't suppose as much they do know, living in a remote spot like that. Probably if it's simple.
Yes, I say, can't you imagine that old fool of an admiral? I bet he's got a cannon in his garden and a flagpole.
I expect he plays with boats in his bar.
If they have bars. Unlikely to have bars in a place like that. More likely just to avoid each other.
I see.
Jolly good idea of yours to use that spot as an army training ground. I've never been to the Isle of Wight, but from the map it doesn't look as if much goes on there.
I wonder you don't use more of it, you know. Come to think of it, you could take up the whole island, use it as a rocket range.
What a splendid idea. I'm sure we could fix it for you.
Yes.
I'll just make a note of that.
Good. Now, as we seem to have got things taped, I think we're entitled to a little celebration. What do you say? To get the brandy from the first aid.
Yeah, I've got it here already. You'd like a little brandy, Mr.
Mumpley. Admiral Mumpley.
Yes, of course. Well, you're very good health, Admiral. Oh, Admiral Mumpley.
Look what you've done. You poured drink all down Admiral Mumpley's trousers. Did you say Admiral Mumpley?
I did, sir.
I rather thought you did.
Of all the unscrupulous, malicious, villainous, outrageous,
obnoxious.
So, War Office don't want any publicity, eh? Well, let me tell you, before you get hold of 1 inch of the Isle of Wight, you'll have to face the biggest public scandal of the century. I'll write to every newspaper in the country.
Oh, dear me, even the Sundays?
Especially the Sundays. We'll fight you every inch of the way. Ministry of Idiots, useless parasites, you won't get away with this.
I don't think he's going to cooperate.
Do you realize he called us the Ministry of Idiots?
I do.
And useless parasites?
Oh, my dear boy. Treat remarks like that with the contempt they deserve. Ignore them like I do. Hello, Ministry of Idiots here.
Well, I won't argue with that. Kitchen here.
Yes.
War Office can't send their man over, so they've asked me to ring you. What's happening on this Isle of Wight business?
Oh, Isle of Wight. Things are definitely moving, Sir
They
Gregory.
better move a lot faster.
Yes.
War Office want this land as soon as possible. But above all, remember, no publicity.
Oh, dear, there's going to be a terrible row about this. And just when I looked like getting a carpet in my office.
I can't say I'm pleased with the way you've handled things, too. Scarcely diplomatic. Should have left things to me.
But when you specifically told me that
Too late for diplomacy now, of course. No use offering our naval friend the olive branch. Probably just hit us over the head with it.
But I say,
What?
You could try it on this Miss Chambers. I'll bet she'd be a pushover for that old world charm of yours.
Well, not now, after the Admiral's told her about this little episode.
Then we'll have to see her before he does. We'll order a fast car and go down there at once. It's our only chance.
Sally, don't lose your head. You can't go just dashing off like that. One has commitments, you know. Let me see. It's Thursday, isn't it? Yes, tonight my wife has her friends round. You're right, we'd better go.
Quick, you authorise my expense sheet and I'll authorise yours.
Good idea.
If we can get Miss Chambers to sell her place, the Admiral will have to come round.
Well, this is the house, too. Can't think why Miss Chambers so anxious to hang on to it. Not in very good repair, is it?
No, it looks as if it's only kept together by the Death Watch beetles holding hands.
I'll knock. Now, look, too, when she answers, I want you to let me do the talking. I wasn't in the diplomatic branch all those years for nothing, you know.
Yeah, all right, you are one. You turn on the charm, and I'll put my foot in the door.
I hardly think that'll be necessary.
Yes?
Oh, good afternoon. How do you do, Miss Chambers?
Oh, my foot!
Kindly remove it from my door. I know you. You're the men from the military, aren't you?
Now, come, Miss Chambers. Can't we talk this over? We've come a long way, you know.
Oh, very well. Come in.
Thank you.
I thought my neighbour, Admiral Mumpley, had already been to see you.
Yes, wipe your feet, too. Yes, he's been to see us. Indeed, he has. Most cooperative and helpful. He's selling his property, of course.
He is?
Yes, that's all right.
It's very extraordinary. I understood that.
Yes, Miss Chambers, and you do the same now, won't you? I have the agreement here for you to sign. You won't want to stay when the Admiral's place is taken over by the army, get chased around by a lot of rough soldiers.
Really?
But, you know, it's not so ridiculous as it sounds. Isolated spot like this, the strangest things could happen.
How dare you?
Anyway, a charming girl like you shouldn't be stuck in a place like this. Sell it to us, and you could have a bit of a fling while you're still comparatively young. Oh, I beg your pardon. Well, you know, I compared with a tortoise, for instance. Some of those tortoises live to be 200, I'm told. So we over 50s have quite a long way to go yet, I hope.
Kindly leave my house at once.
No. You haven't signed the bill of sale yet, Miss Chambers.
Nor shall I. I do not propose to sell this property.
I see. You realize, Miss Chambers, we can use compulsory purchase if we have to.
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, good heavens.
Not when the national press print what I've told them.
Admiral Mumpley.
I just got back from London. Saw your door ajar, so came straight in. Heard this bounder trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Take no notice.
Don't worry, I didn't.
I don't think the diplomacy was a great success one. Do you mind if I try another tack? Has it occurred to you, Miss Chambers, this may be your only chance to get a good price for the house? I mean, it's in pretty bad condition, isn't it? Look at all the dry rot in this panelling, for instance. Well, you've only got to bang it and... I say, I'm terribly sorry. Did you use that staircase much?
Oh, what an outrage!
It's fantastic. Wait a minute. What's that scroll of paper? Look, inside the broken paneling.
Oh, I don't know. That paneling's been there for 800 years, and now it's smashed. I shall call the police.
Come along, too. I think it's time we were off.
This scroll must have been here all these years. Yes, look, it's parchment, dated 1241. Good heavens, it's a royal proclamation. By this deed, we, Edward I, King of England, do give to Thomas Beowulf Chambers that piece of land known as the Isle of Wight, as reward for loyal services rendered by Thomas Chambers in our foreign wars, and by his wife in his absence. The said Isle of Wight shall be ruled forever by Thomas Chambers and his heirs, on annual payment to the British Crown of 40 puffins, given under our royal hand this first day of June, 1241.
Good gracious, what an amazing thing.
Quiet, please. You see what this means, don't you? The Isle of Wight isn't part of Britain at all. It's ruled by the descendant of Thomas Chambers, and that's you, Queen Amelia.
And here is the news. An emergency meeting of the International Court of Justice at The Hague has upheld the newly discovered document giving the Isle of Wight independence. In swiftly moving developments today, the British governor was expelled from the island and Queen Amelia I was installed in Carisbrooke Castle. The Isle of Wight people are said to be solidly behind their new regime following an announcement by their Prime Minister, Horatio Mumpley, that there was a ministry plan to turn the whole island into a rocket range. In Moscow, Mr. Khrushchev called for an end to British imperialism in the Isle of Wight and announced he would be visiting Ventnor on a goodwill tour. He confirmed that Russian technicians were already arriving to help develop the island's economy. And now here is a late news flash. Admiral Mumpley has been asked about rumours that Isle of Wight forces are massing in the Cowes area for an imminent invasion of England. In reply, he said, "We should like good relations with our neighbouring island, but unless we receive an immediate guarantee of non-intervention, a state of war will exist." He declined to comment on reports that the Southampton ferry, recently seized by the islanders, had today shelled Bognor Regis. Stand by for further bulletins.
Oh, April, switch it off, for goodness sake. I can't stand it. And it's all our fault. What are we going to do?
Well, if I were you, Mr. Lamb, I'd throw myself out of the window.
Thank you, Mildred. But it's no use. I couldn't commit suicide to save my life.
The papers are calling it the biggest international crisis since World War II.
My Bernard got his call-up papers this morning. He says it's the same old story. The flower of Britain's youth answering the call to arms. He thinks with any luck he'll fail his medical.
Get out of the way, too. Got that shot right at last.
Honestly, how on earth you can play golf at a time like this, I read.
There's no sense in panicking, my dear fellow. You're on established staff, aren't you?
Yes, but I don't think even that'll save us this time. The Prime Minister's given us 24 hours to find a solution.
Yes, a bit high-handed, I thought. Mind you, I think he's rather upset about those 40 puffins the Isle of Wight people sent as payment.
Oh, by the way, Sir Gregory says we've got to move the puffins from the conference room.
Oh.
It's the noise they make. People think it's a policy subcommittee in there.
Puffins, those beastly puffins. Every time I go in, there seem to be more of them.
More of them. More puffins. Look, wait a minute, I think I've got it. More puffins. We ought to have more puffins.
Mildred, fetch the first aider, will you? Miss Adams is going off her head.
No, that Isle of Wight charter said an annual payment of 40 puffins. Don't you see they've been failing to supply puffins for the last 800 years?
Oh.
So they've broken the charter. The island reverts to Britain.
Yeah, By Jove, you're right.
Yes.
She's right,
Yes.
April, you're marvellous.
Oh, thank you.
Unless they send us a back payment of 32,000 puffins.
I somehow don't think that's likely to. No, I think we've got them beaten.
The International Court of Justice is sure to reverse their decision when they hear this.
Yes, quite right, quite right. I must ring up the PM and tell him I've found the solution. Any post this morning, too?
Only this card from Monte Carlo, from Admiral Mumpley and Miss Chambers.
Oh, yes.
Or I should say, Admiral and Mrs. Mumpley.
Are they enjoying their honeymoon?
Apparently. And so they jolly well should on the money the War Office paid for their property, about 3 times its proper value.
Never mind that. It was worth it to get the whole business settled. It was one thing to prove the Isle of Wight still legally belonged to Britain. It was quite another getting the islanders to settle down again.
I must say it was an inspired idea sending Wilfrid Pickles on a state visit.
The main thing was to kill that stupid rumour about turning the whole island into a rocket range. Never know how that started.
But it was you who told Admiral
Two, are you still hoping to get an eventual upgrading?
Yes. I'll never know how it started either.
That's right. Anyway, I know what finished it. My official statement that all proposed rocket testing sites would be in Scotland. That's what finally killed the ill feeling on the island. Nothing worse, you know. Can't have chaps making trouble on your own doorstep when we...
Excuse me, sir.
What?
I thought you'd better see this immediately. Special edition of the paper.
That's so late, but no need to. Oh, my goodness. Do you see this, too?
What? Oh, no. Ministry rocket statement inflames Scotland.
Scottish troops invade at dawn.
Carlisle besieged by 10,000 Scottish soldiers under General Andy Stewart. Oh, no one. This is
but
too
I mean,
much.
I've never heard something...
Smuggling through as the men from the ministry were Wilfrid Hyde-White and Richard Murdoch, assisted by Diana Olsson, Norma Ronald and Roy Dotrice for Great Britain, and opposed by Julian Somers and Joan Sanderson for the Isle of Wight. The Men from the Ministry is written and produced by Edward Taylor. Time to meet the men from the ministry. We present Richard Murdoch and Deryck Guyler in The Men from the Ministry, a weekly tribute to the government officials who shape our lives, who tackle vital problems like the country's transport policy and won't rest till they have us back on our feet again. At the General Assistance Department, that eager executive, Richard Lamb, prides himself on being thoroughly up to date. When a piece of modern equipment is installed, you may be sure that he has a hand in it.
Mildred, this address stamping machine, I've caught my hand in it.
Oh, you are careless, Mr. Lamb. Here. There. Oh, you got an address written on your palm.
Oh, dear, so I have. Mrs. Felicity Philpott, 27 Avenue Road, West Ealing.
Now, I suppose you'll have to spend hours scrubbing that off your hands.
Waste of a morning. I could have been doing something useful, like sorting out my stamp collection.
You and your stamp collection.
I got a new one last week.
Really?
Look, a real beauty. A very rare do not bend from the Foreign Office.
You know, I never heard of anyone collecting rubber stamps before. What's so unusual about this one, anyway?
A misspelling. It actually says, do not bned. Just think, this stamp's been baffling postal workers for years, and now it's mine.
What happened to that nice big one that said fragile?
It broke.
Yeah, how about that special one you wanted from the Ministry of Housing? Permission refused.
Well, I wrote and asked them to let me have one.
What happened?
They said they hadn't got one. Sent my letter back stamped, permission refused.
Wrong lot.
Never mind, I've actually picked up a real collector's piece from the Board of Trade. There aren't many of these about, I can tell you.
What'd he say?
Permission granted. There were just a few made before the war, I believe.
Morning to all. Morning, Mildred.
Morning, sir.
Afternoon, one.
Oh, it's satire now, is it? Yes, well, I suppose I am a little later than usual. Trouble at the railway station. I was engrossed in the newspaper, you see, and I got into the 8th carriage.
And that's why you're late?
Yes, the blessed train only had 7. I felt such a fool sitting there reading between the lines.
I see. Along with the rest of the sleepers, eh? Yes.
Yes, I can see it's going to be one of those days. What work have we got in?
We're helping out the Ministry of Defence. They've got a bit of a flap on.
Oh, what?
Something to do with those supply jobs we did for them.
What do you mean, the things for the Women's Royal Army Corps?
Yes, and for the paratroops.
Yes, well, what's the trouble?
The Women's Royal Army Corps received a consignment of white silk knickers.
Oh, well, what's wrong with that?
Well, they had stamped on the seats, count 3 and then pull ripcord. And the 1st Airborne Division got a lot of khaki flannel parachutes. The Ministry feel there's been a mix-up somewhere.
Yes, it is possible. Well, what's the new job?
We've got to check miscellaneous service expenditure. Here's the file.
Well, best get on with it then. Let's see now. Item 1, 700 sporrans for the Seaforth Highlanders.
I'll enter that under catering.
Don't be silly, too. They don't eat them, they wear them. Yes, outside their kilts. It's a sort of a hairy handbag.
Item 2, a new office block for the camouflage squad.
A new office block for the camouflage squad?
Well, a replacement, actually. It seems they already have an office block, but they can't find it.
Item 3, 1 spare throttle flange for a Wellington bomber.
Item 4...
Just a moment,
yes?
Just a moment. Wellington bombers haven't been in service for years. They were all scrapped, weren't they, after the war?
I say, that's odd. Who'd want a new throttle flange, then?
Yeah, it's very puzzling, isn't it? Well, there's just a reference number here. I think we'll go down to records and look this one up.
Here we are, records office.
Wonder where old Smilby is. He's supposed to be in charge, isn't he? Oh, well. And now, what was that reference number again, to?
735/291.
All right, 735/291.
No, it's not 735/291. It's 735/291. If you see what I mean.
You look it up, too. Start with this drawer here. What's it say on it? ZZZ. Oh, so that's where old Smilby spends the afternoon. No. Close it gently, too. Yes. Don't want to disturb him. Try another drawer.
Righto, one. Here we are. 735/29, requisition for Wellington bomber throttle flange, ordered by Wing Commander Horne, McBoggin Hill Aerodrome.
McBoggin Hill? Well, that's in Scotland. Yes, there was an airfield there during the war. In fact, our department closed it down, as I recall.
That's right. It's all in this file, including our copy of the order we sent in 1945.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Yes, it quite clearly tells them to demobilize all personnel.
It certainly does. It even says it backwards on the other side of the paper.
Huh? Oh, yes, well, someone must have put the carbon paper in the wrong way around, you see. And it... Oh, dear.
That means we sent them a blank sheet of paper.
Now, steady, too. Steady.
Now they've asked for a throttle flange. They must be still there. It's all our fault. If anyone finds out... Oh, the mind boggles.
Yeah, well, it's no use boggling.
I have...
Stop it. They're getting me all... Look, we've got to do something. Now, what beats me is why they've just stayed there and kept quiet.
20 years. Sir Gregory, a public inquiry.
Very fishy, very fishy. If you ask me, there's something odd going on at McBoggin Hill Aerodrome.
Morning, Wing Commander. Squadron Leader Harris reporting for briefing, sir.
Come in, Harris. Mind your moustache on the door.
All McBoggin aircraft standing by on red alert, sir. Ready to scramble.
All right, now, orders for the day. At 0900 hours, you take off into the Lysander, climb to 5,000 feet, Vector 10, straighten out on approach to target area, and then...
yes, sir?
You release the long streamer that says McConaughey's pork sausages are the best.
Good chap. They've renewed their contract with us, then.
Yes, it'll be a good month for the Lysander. Crop spraying, trips around the loch. Oh, we could even do skywriting if it weren't for your spelling.
Yes, I'm sorry about that, sir.
The last time we tried, you wrote Campbell's toothpaste for greener teeth. They were not pleased.
No, sir. Well, what's today's airline schedule?
Airline schedule. Well, have the Wellington fueled up for the usual tourist flight to the Hebrides at 1600 hours, and no more landings like yesterday, Harris.
Well, it was a 3-point landing, sir.
Yes, it was. Point 1, you overshot the runway. Point 2, you had your wheels up. Point 3, you were upside down.
Yeah, well, I got it right on the second run, though.
Yes.
The Wellington's handling well, sir, especially since we got that new throttle plan.
Yes, good. We took a bit of a risk there, you know.
You mean contacting Whitehall after all those years?
Well, if they twigged we were drawing full pay and running a nice little business, they could turn nasty.
Well, we've heard nothing from them since that blank sheet of paper in 45.
Yes. Our orders were so secret, even we weren't allowed to know them.
Frankly, sir, if you hadn't thought of running our own airline, we'd have all gone bonkers.
Oh, well, you know, CEOs are expected to be brilliant, and we owe a lot to that first slogan you thought up. Canary Airways, fly with us and go cheap.
Morning, sir.
Corporal Flower, now repair job on the number 1 hangar. Stick it together, will you? My jacket keeps slipping off it.
Will do, sir.
Incidentally, Flower, when you took the windsock down to wash it, what did you hang in its place?
I'd rather not say, sir.
I thought so. Well, take them down. There's a good girl. No, not those. No. The ones on the windsock. They're rather distracting, yes. Now, what about today's weather report?
Warm and cloudy, sir. Some showers.
Have you got the wind?
Well, just a touch, sir. It's the canteen breakfast.
Well, stand by at 1600 hours for air hostess duties. And do try and remember, you should give the passengers confidence.
Yes, you set a poor example, crouching by the emergency exit with a parachute.
Yes.
Have you no faith in my flying?
Well, not when you put a plane on automatic pilot and come back to chat with the passengers.
What's wrong with that?
We haven't got an automatic pilot.
I wedged the controls with a bit of chewing gum. Same thing. Yes, well, all right, Flower. Pop along to the Lysander, will you? I've got a little job, and you can navigate.
Roger now, sir.
She's not ideal as an air hostess, is she?
Oh, no, sir. She can never remember which door in the plane is the toilet. We've nearly lost several passengers that way. And if we get noisy children, she tells them to go and play outside.
Well, now then, I think most of the Muckboggin staff have reported. Oh, no, there's one we haven't seen.
Good morning, sir. Was there something?
Costa. I was afraid you might be in bed with your twinges.
No, sir, no. Emily sent me some embrocation, and it's done wonders for me kneecap.
Oh, good, sir.
Trouble is, my wrist ache from all the rubbing in. Killing me.
Well, I'll be off on the Lysander mission, sir.
There you go. And then I've got this streaming cold. Oh, absolute torture it is. You know, I must have gone through 10 boxes of paper doilies, honest.
Yes, all right, Costa. I don't want a blow-by-blow account. Just as long as you keep the planes in working order.
Working order, he says. 20 years I've been patching that old Wellington. Glue, sticky tape, bits of old motorbike, elastic from Emily's...
Costa, that'll do. Now, have you managed to trace that trouble in your undercarriage?
Yes, sir. It was just a boil, sir. It caused a tightening of the skin. That's why every time I sit down, my mouth flies open.
Yes, fine. That will be all, Costa.
Oh, if it wasn't for my cheerful maladjustment, I couldn't keep going. Mind you, I don't know why we do. Those ministry people will catch up with us one of these days. You mark my words, and I'll mark yours.
Oh, nonsense, Costa. Those ministry people, as you call them, have forgotten all about us.
Oh, Muckboggin Hill next stop, too. Shouldn't be long before we know the whole story.
Do you think we're right to come and investigate ourselves?
Of course, too, of course. This way we've a better chance of hushing the whole thing up.
Oh, I do hate these long train journeys.
Stop breathing on the glass and drawing pictures with your finger.
Just passing the time.
Yes, but they're my spectacles. Never mind, we're coming into the station. Put that away and get your brolly down from the rack.
Well, here we are, one. Rather a desolate place.
Yes, certainly is, isn't it? Oh, here comes the porter.
Can I close the carriage door, sir, and carry your luggage for you?
But the train's pulled out and we haven't got any luggage.
Aye, well, you'll no withhold a wee tip on account of 2 accidents of fate.
Yes, I will. Now, look here, my good fellow. We're from the ministry. You see, the ministry in London. Now, how do we get to Muckboggin Hill Aerodrome?
The ministry, Muckboggin Hill Aerodrome. Aye. Well, as you can see, I'm racking my brain.
No, you're not. You're waving your hand under our noses.
Well, it's an old Scottish greeting, sir. According to age-old ritual, you drop a bawbee in it, and I remember the way to the aerodrome.
Oh, very well. Here you are.
I see. A sixpence, eh? You want to know the sixpenny way to the aerodrome? Well, outside the station, you turn sharp right, and you struggle through the bog and across the rough moorland.
Wait a minute. Here's half a crown.
Oh, yes, the half-crown way. Outside the station, you turn sharp left, and there's a main road will take you straight there.
Hello? Ring of Honor Horne? Oh, it's you, Angus. Not a lot of passengers on the way. What? Ministry officials just left the railway station? Oh, good Lord. Thank you, Angus. Goodbye.
Men from the ministry, eh? Oh, the game's up then. I told you, an ignoramus discharge. That's what we're going to get.
Oh, pull yourself together, Costa. Now, there's one way out of this.
Yes.
Draw a rifle from the stores.
We're going to shoot ourselves?
No. Plan A. We'll put Plan A into operation. Now, take down the Canary Airways signs and put these up.
Oh, Plan A?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But mind you, it'll never work. They'd have to be idiots to fall for that.
Dear. 5 miles and uphill all the way. Yes, well, it's lucky we were able to borrow this farm cart.
Lucky for you sitting up there. Not so lucky for me having to pull it.
Here we are. The aerodrome.
There's a chap at the main gate. He's pointing a rifle at us.
Well, all right, fire. Again. Here, come out from under that cart and identify yourselves.
I'm General Assistant from Land Department.
And I'm Miss Brown, Lennox Senior.
Well, can you identify yourselves?
Of course. I know myself anywhere.
Well, this, I will tell you, is a top-secret establishment, and I shall need proof of your identify before I shoot you.
We're from the ministry.
Here, just a minute. There's something a bit familiar about you.
Oh, I hope not. We try never to be familiar at the ministry.
I know that face. 20 years ago, RAF, name like Muckheap or Murdoch or something. One or two very curious habits.
Certainly not. My name's Lamb. Look at this label on my jacket. Made specially for our Lamb.
Ah, so you had the label specially made. Well, what does that prove? Just a minute. Let me see your hand.
What for?
So you're Mrs. Felicity Philpott, 27 Avenue Road, West Ealing, are you?
Of course she isn't. He isn't. Now, look here. What about this? There you are. Now, a letter addressed to me.
Let's have a look.
Well, there's no need to open it.
Oh, so you're Snookums, are you?
Well, it's my mother, you know. Yes, it's just a pet name for me. It's Snookums, yes.
I never knew that one.
Oh, stay out of this, too.
Sorry, Snookums.
Now, look. Here's my passport. That should prove who I am.
Have a look. Deryck Lennox Brown, age, yes. Hair, partly. Special peculiarity, strawberry birthmark on your... Yes?
Yes.
Well, let's see it. Come on, make certain.
But what, here? In the open?
Well, you can rely on my edification.
Certainly not.
Oh, go on, one.
Out of the question. I'm not rolling up my sleeve for anybody.
Right? Right, well, I'm taking you two to the wing, Commander. Move yourselves, come on. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Well, there we are then. I'm sorry about that, gentlemen. We can't be too careful, you know. This is a top-secret base. The key to Britain's whole defense system.
McBoggin Hill? Well, I mean, you've only got one old Wellington bomber.
Aha! That's what we want them to think.
Them? Who?
Them.
Oh, them.
Exactly. Are you sure we haven't met before?
Oh, yes, positive.
Oh, pity of you were the chap I thought you were. I was going to ask for my plimsolls back.
Now, look, just what is going on here, please? I mean, top secret signs everywhere, an armed guard.
Project X-45. Need I say more?
Need you? Yes, I think you need. I've never heard of it.
Ah, well, now, have you got an A1 security clearance?
Yes.
Oh. Have you got a B2 security clearance?
No.
Ah, well, you won't have heard of it then. So if I were you, I'd go straight back to London and forget we exist.
Righto, shall we go on?
Just a moment. I'm not satisfied. Now, there are one or two little things that bother me. Where's your Wellington bomber got Canary Airlines painted on its side?
Camouflage?
Poppycock. I shall get on to London to check this ridiculous story.
No, I'll do it for you. This is a direct line to the Prime Minister. Oh, hello, sir. Horne here. How's the little woman? Oh, good. I'm so glad. Now, I've got two ministry boards poking around, sir. Get rid of them. Oh, if you say so, sir. Yes,
just a moment, please. Let me speak to him. Hello, sir.
At the third stroke, it will be 2:29 precisely.
That's not the Prime Minister, that's Tim.
Oh, I wondered why he kept telling me the time. I'll dial again.
Oh, no, you won't, thank you. No, please. No, I'll dial this time. Yes, I'll get on to Pilkington at the Ministry of Defence. If you are an important base, he'll know all about it.
Hello, Pilkington, Ministry of Defence.
Oh, Lennox Brown here. Look, what do you know about McBoggin Hill Aerodrome?
Why do you ask?
Well, they claim it's a top-secret base. I thought you ought to know if it was.
Yes, I ought, oughtn't I? Where did you say?
McBoggin Hill, Scotland. They said something about Project X-45. They've got a Wellington up here.
Let me ring you back, L.B. I'll need to get a clearance on this. McBoggin Hill? Never heard of it. Miss Moneypenny, get me Jones of Intelligence.
Jones of Intelligence.
Pilkington here. It's about McBoggin Hill Aerodrome in Scotland. It's one of our top-secret establishments, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Yes.
Can you give me some details about it?
It's in Scotland, I believe.
Aren't they running Project X-45? Something to do with Wellingtons?
Wellingtons? Some sort of new waterproofing process, you mean?
Is that what it is?
Well, look, old boy, I'd better bring you back. I'll need to get security clearance on this. X-45, I really should try and read some of the muck on this desk. Still, O'Reilly of Security will know.
Hello, Finnegan's Ballroom Dancing Academy. security. Look here, O'Reilly. This is Jones of Intelligence.
Now, how did you get our number?
It's in the trade directory under spies.
Oh.
McBoggin Hill, our top secret security base. Are they running Project X45 or not?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I've heard a buzz they are. Producing a new super gumboot or something.
Me? Well, let me get clearance on this, then I can tell you all I know. Oh, she's sweet Fanny Adams. Who the devil would know about this sort of thing? Well, it must be someone.
Hello, Pilkington, Ministry of Defence.
O'Reilly, security. It's about our top secret base in Scotland.
Ah, McBoggin Hill. You know it, then?
What? Well, of course I do. Project X45, a dramatic breakthrough in rubber footwear.
Yes, that's right. I didn't know you knew.
Oh, it's my job to know, just making sure you knew. Good man.
Oh, thank you, Pilkington. Now you've told me what they're up to here, and I can act accordingly.
Sorry about the delay. It took me a while to get permission to tell you.
Yes, right. Well, thank you very much, Ken. Goodbye. Well, Wing Commander, that's settled it.
Yes, I was afraid it might.
Oh, Lord. What are you going to do now, sir?
What I must? Apologize. They've confirmed you're a top-secret base.
Well, now you know I'd... They have?
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Mind you, they didn't tell me what project you're working on.
No. Well, they couldn't. I mean, it's a very hush-hush.
Yes. Still, I think we ought to have some idea of your activities, you know.
I know what they're up to, one.
You do?
Yeah, it's something to do with that old Wellington bother out there, right?
Right, yes, it's got a lot of revolutionary new features, that plane. It's wings and so forth.
Oh?
Yes, and you'll notice we've abandoned the old-fashioned jet engine.
What are you using instead?
I'm glad you asked me that. A number of specially shaped strips of metal that rotate at enormous speeds. We call them propellers.
Sure. Is there any chance of us having a flight?
Oh, out of the question, I'm afraid.
Sir, Squadron Leader Harris is due back any minute, and he's got a streamer, sir. A streamer, remember?
A streamer?
Yes, a very nasty cold, sir, very nasty.
Oh, good Lord, yes. We don't want you to catch that.
No, perhaps we should give them a flight, sir. We don't want anyone to catch it.
I'm not too happy about bringing him aboard the Wellington, Costa.
Had no choice, sir. If they've seen the Lysander coming back with McConaughey's pork sausages streaming from the tail.
Yes, quite. You better go back and keep an eye on them, in case they spot we've converted this aircraft for tourist flights.
I say, one, what funny seats this aircraft's got. Mine has Glasgow Parks and Gardens department on it.
Yes, very odd. It's not often you find a rusty wrought iron bench in an airplane. Still, they're not all like that.
No, there's a wickerwork rocking chair, a maroon sofa, half a dozen deck chairs, and a poof.
Oh, I see you're admiring our scientifically designed seating, sir. All experimental, of course.
Well, experimental or not, things don't look very safe to me.
Oh, we're very concerned with safety, sir, very.
Yes, I noticed this little box. In case of fire, break glass and pull red handle.
Yes, and what does that do?
Oh, that works the pilot's ejector seat.
Well, it's another thing. I've been wondering about all these leaflets here under the seat.
Leaflets? Yeah, they're messages. That's what they are, messages, and very highly confidential. I'll just take these and take them with...
Just a moment, please. Just a moment. Can you explain this one? McConaughey's sausages make both ends meet.
Yes. Well, that one hasn't been decoded yet, sir.
And what about this coloured brochure? Canary Airlines, let us take you under our wing. Proprietor Wing Commander Horne.
Oh, God. I knew you'd find out. I told the Wing Commander it was all his idea. He said we got to keep quiet and run the place as a commercial airline.
Eh? All right, come along. We'll see about this.
Gentlemen, everything all right?
The game's up, Wing Commander. Costa's told us all about it.
Oh, has he? You're an idiot, Costa. Can't you do anything right?
My first little slip in 25 years.
Who took off in our Spitfire without opening the hangar doors?
Well, I can't think of everything.
And who lost our 10-ton bomb?
Well, everybody mislays things from time to time.
You mislaid a 10-ton bomb?
Yes, all right, Joe, all right. Now then, Wing Commander, I insist you land this aircraft immediately.
I'll lower the wheels, Bob.
No, that's not the undercarriage switch.
Good Lord, Costa, so that's where you left the bomb.
The bomb, mate. You know, the one place I didn't think of looking.
We've dropped a bomb. I'm awfully sorry, man. Good job we're over the sea.
Yes. On the other hand, you've just scored a direct hit on a ship.
And here is the news read by John Curl. The oil pollution threat to the Scottish coast is over. The wrecked oil tanker, which went aground early today, has been completely destroyed by a single bomb from a lone RAF plane. This unexpectedly prompt government action drew praise from the threatened Scottish resorts of Porridge Bay, Haggis-on-Sea, and Tartan Sands. It was a remarkable piece of precision bombing, said an eyewitness. The ship's crew had only just been taken off when the plane appeared and dropped the bomb. It modestly refused to answer radio signals, released a streamer saying Baffy's beer is best, and flew in ever-diminishing circles until it disappeared up a cloud bank. Questioned in the House about his swift action, the Prime Minister said, "What action?" This crushing reply brought cheers and applause from government supporters.
And thereupon we closed down the camp and demobilized the remaining personnel as per our instructions in 1945. There we are, one. Our report on McBoggin Hill Airfield.
Very good, too. When the Ministry of Defence see this, they'll want to know why we waited 23 years.
Yeah, it's all rush with their minutes.
Yes, that'll be all, Wilfrid.
Righty-ho, sir.
Do you think I should add a bit about the oil tanker business?
No, too. Let sleeping dogs lie, please. You know what they're like. They'll probably deduct the cost of the bomb from our salaries.
Once they get this report, we'll be out of a job anyway.
Yes, like Wing Commander Horne and his friend Costa.
Do you suppose they've found anything yet?
Oh, hardly. Who's likely to employ a couple of out-of-touch rogues like them?
Excuse me, sir. The gentleman from the Ministry of Defence to pick up your report.
How do you do? I'm Horne, new liaison officer, Ministry of Defence, and this is my number 2.
Entirely ossified to meet you, I'm sure.
Good Lord, you two.
What happened to Pilkington?
Well, the poor fellow was suffering from delusions. He was going around muttering about secret bases that didn't exist.
Nuclear rubber gumboots?
But you mean they...
Yes, they promoted him, and I got his old job.
Oh, so we've got to hand this report to you.
That's right, and we'll put it somewhere safe. Any suggestions?
Come over here by the big open fire, and we'll discuss it.
What a
splendid idea.
Up in the air as the men from the Ministry were Richard Murdoch and Deryck Guyler, with their special guests Kenneth Horne and Sam Costa. Also featured were Norma Ronald, John Graham, Antony Viccars, and Douglas Hankin. The program was written by Johnnie Mortimer, Brian Cooke, and Edward Taylor, and produced by Edward Taylor.